this conversation, everyone was talking about it at the back end of the Ange Postecoglou tenure. Who has Ange actually improved in this squad? Has he improved any player? Now we are 11 games into the season. Champions League, Carabao Cup, whatever. Played, fair amount of games this season. How many players do you think Thomas Frank has actually improved so far this season for Tottenham?
Well, the obvious starting point
is Mickey
van de Ven.
Yeah, I think Mickey van de Ven's the no-brainer, and I think he's definitely improved Mickey van de Ven. The way he's defending, last season everyone was saying Mickey can't header a ball. Mickey, when the ball goes over the top, he's not winning any headers. Well, he's very dominant in that aspect now. He's still the threat going forward, and if not more of a threat going forward, scoring, was it 5 goals or 6 goals this season? 6 goals this season
after Copenhagen.
But the thing that's impressed me most is how he's improved defensively.
Yeah.
So I think Mickey van de Ven is obviously the biggest kind of example of it. Who else?
Well, I will say, when it comes to Mickey van de Ven, one thing I have been saying and will always say, I think one thing we do have to give enormous credit to Ange Postecoglou and his medical staff is when they decided to change his running style, because they clearly saw something with pulling up the hamstrings and identified that stuff. Like when a golfer changes his swing, they saw that this could be an element to what's bringing the hamstrings on, and touch wood, touch everything. So far, it's looking like that way's worked. But obviously, then again, when you look at it, is Paulinho a problem? Paulinho has helped him and Cucci out a hell of a lot, because he's not having, because he deals with a lot of it. A lot of people were talking about, will Mickey be shown to be the pace merchant? And not just Spurs fans, rival fans. Oh, he's just a pace merchant. It's come from deep. He'll get caught out. I think he's got better. I think his defending has been pretty much the odd. He had a bad game against Chelsea, which was very unlike him. And there's been a couple, and I mean, to do a couple of wayward passes. He did against United, but then he came back and sorted it out. I think he has improved no end. I would also go to say, I think his defensive partner,
Romero.
Yeah. And I think when I say that, I think he showed a level of maturity.
I think he was already showing that. I mean, obviously in the back end of Ange, he wasn't. But I think all in all, when you look at, all those years back when we were saying, he's a bit erratic, over the top, when he sees that red mist,
Yep.
I don't think much has changed in that aspect for Romero. I mean, I know, like, we can all go back to the back end of last season, the Premier League, but no one was performing well there, so I don't really like to take that as an example. But I think Romero has been on a very good level under Frank, but I think he's always been at that kind of level.
I think his mentality, he's matured. I think the partnership with Mickey has got stronger, playing a deeper defensive line, remember. That's what you've got to remember. Remember, we've all gone from playing a very, very high line, going back to a defensive, more pragmatic and a more deeper defence, which obviously a lot of defenders are used to. So I think the style of football that's come in has certainly supported. I would say Kevin Danso as well. Kevin Danso, who what you get with him. I think he has been. You look at the games that he came in. He came in against Romero for Aston Villa. He was superb. I think he was superb at Everton. I think Kevin Danso has matured and improved under Frank. Who else would you say?
Odegaard.
Yep.
Odegaard for sure. I think he's just getting better and better, in my opinion. Obviously, it's hard to note Odegaard properly because he never really got that run of games. He still hasn't got the run of games, but he didn't get the minutes under Ange because he had mad injuries last season. So it's hard to say that he's dramatically improved actually, but we're seeing an unbelievable level from him, and it's getting better and better. So you got to put that down. You got to say Frank is having a helping hand in that, and that's what I was talking about before. Like Odegaard, I think, is the first example of maybe what we were hoping to see after what he's done at Brentford and improve, your Kevin Shardays, your Mbuemos, your Wissers, all these kind of guys. And I think Wilson Odegaard is that kind of first example of it, isn't it?
Yeah, he is. And like you said, when you look at Brentford, he has had a plethora of forward players of all different kind of attributes, qualities, and he has developed all of them. He is there. I mean, you've got to remember as well, people. It was him and his scouting team that identified Thiago. He should have had Thiago all last season, but obviously he picked up a nasty injury, and he's looking the real, or not the real deal, but he's certainly
8 goals in 11 games. I mean, that's pretty much real deal.
Yeah, but he is certainly taken to the Premier League by storm. And again, it's another player he had. If Spurs sign him tomorrow, I'll be absolutely delighted. So he will develop the forwards, but again, it's going to take time. And he's had players like we talk about a Wissa and a Buemo that no one would have heard of, and has turned them into the quality players that they are today. So you can see green shoots from Odegaard, can't you? I think what we've seen from him this year, it's always been his final ball has been a little bit hit and miss. But one thing I've noticed him in recent games is his confidence to just drive at the defender and know or think he's got the beating of his defender. And he came on against United at half-time because of that Mawani injury, and he had his fullback on toast, didn't he? He was just passing him at will, contributed heavily to both goals, and he is gradually, step by step, improving. And this is what Frank does. And like I said, he hasn't had a consistent run. Hopefully, he's now at least till January the first choice left back, isn't he?
Left wing, yeah.
Left wing. Sorry, left wing.
He has to be. I think he's just playing at such a high level at this moment in time. He really is. And like I mentioned, like the last 3 games for him, it's just been getting better and better game by game. So we have to persist with him. I would like to say his compatriot Mathys Tel as well. I think Mathys Tel seems to be getting a bit better, and I think we're seeing high levels from him in the last couple of games than we have seen from him, last season.
Yeah, I mean, you look at both the goals he scored this season. Leeds, obviously, it was a nice pass through, but he had to make that yard of space, didn't he, to get the shot off? Yes, it was deflected. Both goals have been deflected, but it's through Tel taking that yard and making that space for himself. And the goal against United, at a vital time when we couldn't muster a thing, like the goalkeeper made some great saves from Richarlison, made one from Romero. I think there was another one as well, wasn't there? I can't remember who. But he made a couple of great saves, and then obviously he took that goal. Yes, it got a deflection, but that first touch to make that space and have the confidence to lash it like he did, he seems to be growing in confidence. And obviously when he goes to France, yes, it's under 21s games, but he's doing very, very well there. So hopefully it will start building.
I said it to Sim in the match review after the United game. That goal from Mathys Tel reminded me a lot of Jermaine Defoe and the kind of movements that he used to make in the box. Make a yard for yourself and bang.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what he did. And, if you do that more times than not, deflection or no deflection, it's ending in the back of the net.
Yeah, and obviously Jermaine Defoe made a career out of that, didn't he?
Exactly.
And Jermaine Defoe was one of the most lethal, instinctive strikers that you could ever wish to see in the Premier League.
I feel like Mathys Tel is that kind of player where if you give him too much time to think about it, he might screw it up a little bit. But pure instincts and predatory instincts, I think he's got that in him.
Yeah, it's like you look at Jermaine Defoe. If he's going through one-on-one, he's got time to think. Too many things will enter his head.
Not like Harry Kane, where you know it's going to be
or Dimitar Berbatov, where it's just like bang. These strikers, like Ian Wright used to be an instinctive striker. Like, literally, they just do so. Another one, Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, who I loved, Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank.
You didn't really?
I did until he went to Chelsea, then I just hated him. But I loved Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, at least. One of my favourite Premier League strikers. They just had so much power and did so much things on instinct. And I think you're right, Mathys Tel has more instinct than, like, when he's got time on the ball, he may get not confused, muddled, or whatever terminology you want to use. But he is showing. If it hadn't been for him, we'd be looking at a defeat, wouldn't we?
Another player who I think he's actually improved, which we haven't seen too much of, but every time he stepped foot on the pitch, I think he's been brilliant, is Archie Gray. Like, at the end of last season, everyone was saying Archie Gray's out of his depth, Archie Gray ain't a Premier League footballer, Archie's this, Archie's that. Well, every time he stepped foot on the pitch, I think he's been bloody brilliant.
I agree. Burnley, I mean, as soon as... See, it started at the Burnley game. As soon as people saw that midfield, feel like, oh my God, Frank don't know what he's doing. We won that game comfortably 3-0. Yes, it was only Burnley. But it was a home game where our home form has been crap. Burnley were known for being very, very good defensively. And they played well. I think he did very well against Doncaster. Very well. I thought he was one of the man of the match. And he has looked more comfortable. When we signed him, I came on the show, didn't I? I was in Toronto, and we said that that was around the Conor Gallagher talk, wasn't it? For one of the seasons. And I think we do have a very, very good player that will be up there as first choice midfielder within 2-3 years. And he has, and again, he's just been struck down with the injury, hasn't he? Because you would have thought he would have played against Monaco, wouldn't you? That's when it broke. I think he has certainly looked bright. His confidence will grow, especially knowing that Frank wanted him so badly at Brentford.
And another player, I mean, a lot of people might disagree, but who I think has definitely looked better in terms of his general gameplay is Brennan Johnson. I know he's not getting, you know, the same level of goals as maybe he got last season, and we don't have this kind of back post Brennan anymore. But I actually think in the last few games, last 2 or 3 games, he looks more dangerous on the right-hand side than he has done.
Well, first of all, he definitely looks a lot better on the left, right than the left. Apart from, obviously, you say that about Brennan, but he went and scored 2 goals at the back post at the beginning of the season. Do you know what I've seen with Brennan? He still has so much work to do, but he's now got the confidence to try and take his man on, which he just didn't have before. And I will say, and I will keep harping on about it, I think his cross for Richarlison against Manchester United that he missed, if James Maddison had put that cross in, or Pedro Porro would have been going, oh my God, what an absolutely outstanding cross. Look at it. I think it's an actual crime.
Left peg as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's an actual crime that Richarlison didn't get anything on that. You have a put it this way, you have a Solanke there, that he's at least making contact with that ball, and the goalie's making a save. It was a phenomenal cross on his wicket. Now, I know you and I are small picking at very, very small things, but the improvements come gradually, isn't it? It's not like all these players come in and then automatically they just go up to a different level. There are shades of it. Do I think we need better than Brennan Johnson? Yes. Do I think if we had an opportunity to sell Brennan Johnson, we should take it? Yes. But that doesn't mean you can't see where things he has worked on his game. And the one thing is, you know, he is good for a goal. You know it. If you look at that Spurs team right now, if Johnson is in the starting lineup against the Arsenal, against the Filth, you would say if you're going to put a bet on first goal scorer, it wouldn't be a wise move to bet against Johnson, would it?
No, I agree with that. So, like, look, I definitely think that I've seen improvements in Brennan Johnson, particularly in the last 3 or 4 games. I can't really think of any other players that stand out to me about, you know, improvements under Frank. But what I would say, I think players like Pedro Porro, maybe that's no fault of his own, maybe it's due to overplaying and tiredness, I don't know. But Pedro Porro and I think Jed Spence aren't performing at the same level as what we saw last season, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, the other one we could actually mention is obviously pre-season, Sarr looked incredible, didn't he? And he started off incredible. Then obviously, I think Jed Spence defensively has got stronger. But he's got weaker where he's come out like Chelsea when he was showboating, and he's allowed that to creep into his game. And with Pedro Porro, we've seen the stats, his defensive duties, he's ranked number 1 in everything, isn't he? Defensively. Which is brilliant to see improvement for him when I didn't think he was a fault. Remember the stuff
I still have seen him struggle in certain games from a defensive standpoint.
Yeah, of course you can have the odd game, but I mean, what I'm saying is his stats over the season compared to any other fullback, he has had a torrid at a time, but that's where Spence can be so vital on those games. And I think them two battling it out for that one fullback space could bring the best out of both of them.
Yeah, fair point. But look, I think, you know, definitely some players that have improved since Frank here, a couple that maybe haven't done and maybe regressed a little bit. But I'm excited to see what happens with the likes of Lucas Bergvall, because I think the good performances from him have been bloody brilliant and maybe even better to what we've seen last season. But it's a bit too inconsistent from Lucas Bergvall at this moment in time. And I think what really excites me about the players that Thomas Frank can improve are the attacking players, the wing players. I think Odebeck can keep getting better. I think Matisse Tell can get better. I think Brennan Johnson can keep getting better. Like these kind of players, I think Frank has previous for, and I think he will keep getting, you know, growing them.
Well, let's look at what he had at Brentford as well, just in one position, like your Damsgaards, your Shardays, and what he's done for them. Well, he's got Xavi here, and Xavi, with all the quality and potential he has, is above them too.
Yeah.
In potential from when and if he can do what he's done for them, with the potential that we all know Xavi has got, we could be looking at an absolute incredible signing. And the other thing you got to look at, I think this is so vital for all managers in the Premier League and world football, but very important for Frank right now. After this international break, that's it till March.
Yeah.
And with Christmas coming up, it is just pure every single day, apart from rest days, obviously, trading, no interruptions. I'm going to get my philosophy over to you.
But when it's 2 games a week, like, there's not that much time for training.
There isn't, but then after December, when the Champions League kind of thing is done, it's going to be a lot easier till they kick off again in February. You're going to have January, all right, there might be an FA Cup match or 2.
There's 2 Champions League games in January.
Okay, so you got that, but you know what I mean? He's going to have a lot more time uninterrupted, where it's not going to be like, right, we've just started getting into something. Oh, now you piss off for 2 weeks, and then we'll see you again. And then he can start. He's going to have to start. I know he says take 1 game ahead, but surely around about now you're thinking about the Christmas structure and who he's going to have available, rotation and everything. But I think after this international break, when he has got a lot of time with the players uninterrupted, whether it be match days coming thick and fast or whatever, will be a huge help to him. And hopefully, right now as we speak during this international break, the talk is going on with Enoch, with Vinay, with Lange, with Fabio, with Frank and his coaching team to say, right, we need these players, we need them quick, we need them now, and we see what January brings.